Welcome, everybody. Who do we have behind the Zealous account?
Hey everyone, it's Greg here from Gregarious from Zealous.
Hey, Greg, how's it going? Good to
Good, how
have
are
you
you?
here.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. Another Friday here for crypto and coffee. What's going on, fam? Dal, how's Brazil doing? What are you doing over there? Relaxing, work, play, both?
A little bit of both. I got my little brother with me and my girlfriend, and was just traveling through Brazil, doing Rio first, then Sao Paulo, and then last but not least, Bahia, El Salvador. People are super friendly. The food is great. I would definitely recommend it. And it's also interesting because they actually have crypto. There's a lot of bureaucracy, so it's not as open as we'd like to, but it looks like it's moving in the right direction. Other than that, trying to keep up with the Azuki fiasco, but I think Jess, you might have more information on that tidbit.
Yeah, I memed it earlier. You can check out, I'll pin it to the top. What my I don't know. I don't know what to think. We could definitely get into that later. It's definitely a lot of drama as always, but a lot of cool things are happening in this space. So definitely excited to get into that. What about you, Tammy? What's going on with you?
We are finally breathing a little bit easier this today, I should say. It's been crazy here this week with our air quality, but we're doing better today, which is good. But I just want to say, I think Dow should be a like a some sort of, I don't know, travel agency or something. Do something on the blockchain because I seriously, if I ever go anywhere, I'm consulting Dow because he seriously is our jet setter. So if I ever want to go anywhere, I'm calling you and I'm finding out where the hot spots are.
We're going to call it Digital Nomad at ETH. All the best places around the world to meet other crazy DJ like us.
No, I had
I'm get,
mentioned that to you a few months ago because I remember Binance like got some influencer like, oh, let's see if I can do my whole travel just using Binance Pay or some shit like that. And she did like a whole little video. So yeah, we got to find you somebody that will sponsor you to travel and only pay in crypto and see if you can survive.
here for it.
There's a guy that did that actually. I can't remember his name, right? He was using BTC, I think, and he
Yeah,
took
with
his whole
Bitcoin.
family on the minivan and just keep traveling around the world.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome everybody else. We're gonna get started. We got for the first part of our show, we got Greg here for Zealous. And I know there's a lot of content creators in this space, and or whether you're working with brands or doing marketing, it's an app that I've been using for a while. If you've seen some of the audiograms that I've posted, and really enjoy using. And yeah, so welcome, Greg. Happy to have you here. What's going on?
I'm good. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great to meet everyone. Finally, chat with everyone. Been listening in the background here and there. Going well here in. I'm based in Denver actually, so it's we had an insane hailstorm yesterday. Like I went to pick my son up and literally had to drive back home because the car was getting pelted. And but I think there was like 2 or 3 inches of hail outside. All my wife's plants died. Like all the tomatoes, everything's gone. Like it was nuts.
That's crazy, crazy. Yeah, sorry to make you get up early. MB, question we asked to all our speakers: are you a coffee drinker? And if so, what kind of coffee do you drink?
Absolutely, I drink all kinds. We have a local place that roasts here called Glissade, which is pretty awesome. And my wife has found this. We have 2 dogs, and she's like very into dogs. I'm drinking out of like a dog mug, and we have like a dog coffee. I forget it's like Pound and Ground Paw or something like. I forgot the name. But they do a bunch of different blends, and they donate money to like dog shelters, I think. So a very cool cause, but also really good coffee. And we do pour overs in the morning. So
Nice, fancy stuff. Yeah, Dal likes that fancy stuff. All right, you passed a test, so we can keep on with the show. But no, just kidding. But yeah, thanks for coming by. So yeah, if for those of us, for those that don't know what Zealous is, maybe just give us a high level overview of what you're doing over at Zealous.
yeah, absolutely. So Zealous is a fairly simple value prop. If you've ever made content before, then, or if you're anything like me, like making the content may not be the hard part, but doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do with it is hard, right? And so all of us are likely individual or, on a very small team or a part-time team. And it turns out that, it takes, twice as much time to actually produce and market that content as it does to actually create it. And so what Zealous is really focused on is like giving you the power of AI to make you hyper efficient and hyper effective, not just as a creator, but also as a marketer.
Oh,
that's pretty generic. So let me tell you a little bit.
No. That's complete. Let's start it off easy. So before we get into the details, like what made you decide to start this platform? Were you a marketer or content creator? Like where did you get this idea from?
Great question. So I'm a little bit of both, actually. I've been a creator since I think I did my first blog in 2003, did my first podcast in 2004. I've done live streams, a number of podcasts since then, write on Medium every once in a while. So I've been a creator for, in many different ways and shapes. And so I really sort of resonate with sort of the challenges that just as a creator I experienced in sort of trying to help create content, or more importantly, I never had a problem talking or writing. I had a problem like being a good marketer, like letting people know I did it and sort of like figuring out what the next thing to do was. At the same time though, I'm an entrepreneur. This is my third sort of venture startup. And like way back, I was the first person at a company called Clout, where we helped like sort of measure online influence. My last company right after that was a user-generated content platform. So I've been working around creators, influencers, or as you said yesterday, enthusiasts, right? And just helping connect them to like brands and opportunities. And so when we started out for this new company, I was like, I don't really want to like just be working on the brand side. I really want to figure out a way to help creators like me. And so we started working on what is now Zealous.
Awesome. And obviously it's like the perfect timing because AI is like a huge hype right now. So how does AI play into the role of the Zealous app?
Yeah, great question. So there is AI in a lot of different places in Zealous, actually. So just to explain kind of like the most common workflow in Zealous, you may be doing, say, like you may be a Twitter Spaces host. And so as many of you probably know, if you ever want to access your space, it takes like several days to request your backup and download it and all that stuff. You don't have to do that with Zealous. Once you connect your Twitter account, usually like 5-10 minutes after your space is done, we can provide you with the recording. But what we do from there is we then use AI to transcribe that transcript. So we can, we go through, we do speech or voice to text, basically, convert that into a text-based transcript. For spaces in particular, we'll pull out all of the reaction data in real time and then synchronize it with the transcript. And then we're able to use the AI and the audience data. So we're like a hybrid approach. We like to call it like audience intelligence as well as artificial intelligence. But when we blend those two together, what we're able to do then is start to use the AI to find and surface more interesting things. So we have an AI generated highlight reel that will find interesting quotes and moments and surface those for you. We are working on a bunch of new features, including like one that will suggest follow-up questions that you can answer, as well as new content topics that you could produce. So the AI is kind of weaved in behind the scenes, mostly working for you, but we also have what we call the AI assistant. And so if you ever used like ChatGPT or something like that, you probably encountered the problem where you can't paste too much stuff into it because it has like a window or a limit. But with Zealous, what we can do is the AI assistant feeds your entire transcript to the AI for you. So you actually can basically chat with your transcript. So it's really fun to watch, feels like magic, but you can like ask it to, hey, write me a blog post about today's space. And it'll, you'll see it sort of generate a blog post by summarizing what was going on inside your Twitter space or anything else like that. So you can interact with it and chat with it. And while we work with Twitter Spaces, it also works with any uploaded file or podcast or Discord chat, voice chats. So lots of ways to get content in, and then lots of ways to transform it basically into marketing that you can readily use.
Love it. And I'll throw it over to the speakers in a minute. I just wanted to comment something. Like, I actually used to make audiograms before even I started using Zealous. And for me, the most tedious part was having to go back and listen to the recording and find that good moment, and it's like, okay, so my spaces on Friday are 3 hours. I'm like, oh shit, I got to remember at what time they spoke about what. So now, like, having Zealous capture those good moments, and even me now, I try to be more conscious about it. If there's something that I like that you're saying, I try to throw a lot of emojis so that moment can be captured by the AI system.
Oh, Jess, I forgot. There's a little trick you can use that if you're the host or the co-host, I believe also, if you give 100, it automatically bookmarks that moment.
Oh, shoot. Wow. Okay, so I'm only going to use the 100 now when I want to bookmark a moment. That is so cool. I did not know that. But I'll throw it over to the speakers. Dow, I know you're also a Zealous user. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
Yeah, and by the way, the reason was because I think it was the espresso and coffee space that you had for content creator, and one of the panelists mentioned it. And so this is another reason why you definitely want to listen to Jess's Space. There's a lot of alpha for all kinds of people. And ever since I used it, yeah, I love it. I probably use it every day. I got my farmers market, and there's a lot of panelists that release some really great alpha. Usually the builders, founders, what have you, and being able to capture 30 seconds of how they see the space or a certain issue or a feature that they're working on is so valuable, and it sometimes teach people to listen to the whole space, right? So I use this actually the audiogram probably every day, and I absolutely love the tool. And what you said, Jess, is so true. Like, I used to have to listen to the show or try to remember when something interesting was said, and the tool, the AI, is so powerful. It's not just the audiogram, but the ability to generate blogs, quotes, and what have you. Is just really, really interesting. So I don't necessarily have a lot of questions. I just think if you're a content creator, this is definitely one of those tools that will save you a lot of time, a lot of sweat, blood, and tears. So it's a really great tool. I'd love to have you on the stage.
By the way, I'm not sure if you tried out. We launched a new feature a couple of weeks ago called Wraps. So Wraps make it even easier. You don't even have to visit. You click one button, and it does like what Spotify does for your music at the end of the year, but it generates a visualization of who's speaking and the word cloud, and also just randomly pulls out some quotes as audiograms in that video. And you can choose, I didn't really mention this, but when you generate audiograms with Zealous, you can choose whatever size you want them to be. So they can be landscape, square, or portrait. So they're, and then the wraps come in 15, 30, or 60-second lengths so that they can work automatically as shorts or reels or whatever else you need.
I didn't know, but I'm definitely going to check it out. Love it.
Yeah, and you can also, I like that, you could also customize like the color schemes. Like, there's templates, but you could also customize them. So if I have like a brand that I'm doing an audiogram for example, I put up the one for B&B Chain, find B&B Chain's color, stick it in there, definitely helps for marketing and the brands like that. I've definitely gotten, interested. Hey, can you make me another one when I said this and so forth? So like, okay. And I send it to them 5 minutes later and they're like, wait, what? But yeah. And yeah, anybody else wanted a comment or question? I see NK up here, Tammy, Brooke, Leo.
I love it. I just downloaded it. This thing's pretty neat. I'm actually imported this space in there. So I'm through 100 so I can see how I sound or whatnot. But I like it.
Awesome. Well, it's free to try, by the way. So there is a free plan. You can sign up and it will just back up your Twitter Spaces for you. So you should definitely just get a free one. And then we've designed it so that it grows. The pricing grows kind of as your needs grow. So you don't pay for a lot of stuff you're not going to use. So it's like really credit based, right? So you pay for the amount of time you need to transcribe, and you pay for the amount of stuff you want to render. So we have different plans that have different features, but also come with different buckets of usage.
Yep, and if you use the link that I posted on the top, you could get a discount if you're looking into one of those plans. Any
It's pretty.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, this is something that, yeah, like you were mentioning, and man, this is a cool concept because, shit, I mean, I would have never thought of something like this, but, yeah, it's bigger brains out there.
Thanks, Leo. NK, what's going on?
Not much. I'm actually going through the site right now. When I tell you, like, I'm a really hard sell. Like, somebody can sit there and talk about their product for like 15 hours and I won't budge an inch. But I love products that know their target market. I'm actually getting a look at it, see if you guys have anything for YouTube. Like, we create like a lot of visuals, so that's
YouTube is coming.
Man,
what part of YouTube are you looking for? Like inbound or outbound?
Live stream. We stream out there. We have a network show, so we actually live stream to YouTube. Yeah,
it's coming soon. Nice. YouTube import will be the next one. We have Spaces as automatic import, RSS feeds as automatic import.
Nice.
And then the next one will be YouTube actually.
Yeah, well, I'm really depending. Like, it's killing my ADD, bro. Like, I need that.
Yeah, videos coming soon. Ja, I see you have your hand up. What's going on?
Oh, hi. I just come in the middle and I just want to know a TLDR of the app. And I'm just doing my research on NFTX is sort of like a NFT floor price trading platform they can leverage with. So maybe you can give some TLDR. I just come in on the middle. I'm sorry about it. I'm just new guy.
No worries. It's not an NFT project. This is an app for content creator that uses AI. So it's not an NFT project.
Actually, I should mention.
Yeah, I should take that back. You do have an NFT plan. Sorry about that.
No, we have NFT features actually. So I didn't mention that. I always forget because like not enough people use them, and it's one of the coolest set of features we actually made. So we are fully ready for Web3 already in Zealous. So there's a few things to take note of. The community plan basically gives you access to Discord, but in addition to that, we have role-based permissions in Zealous. So you can actually add people. You can set up roles, like who can be a contributor, who can create content inside of the Zealous, who can upload stuff, etc. Those roles, however, it works kind of like pre-mint. So you can actually set requirements for who can get those roles. And so there's 3 ways that you can assign those roles. One is the allow list. So you can actually add someone to a role with their Twitter handle or with their wallet address. The second way is you can require an NFT. So you can actually give us the contract address. And if someone has that contract, is holding that NFT, basically they get that role in Zealous as well. The third way is through your Discord. So if you connect your Discord, we will use your Discord roles and you can map them into roles on Zealous. And then the fourth way, there's 4, is Guild XYZ. So if you have way more complicated or complex sort of like requirements or needs, what you can do is you can actually like set up a guild and then use guild roles to lock down access. Now, you may be wondering, like, what is that access for? Well, it's for 2 things. One part is for who can come in and do what. The second part is actually who can see what. And so we actually provide you with a website to publish all of your transcripts as well automatically. So it becomes like a Spotify for all the content from your community. But let's say you had a Discord and you wanted to have like holder only content. You can actually make a channel in Zealous, sort your recordings and transcripts into there, and then lock it down with an NFT or with any of those roles, basically. So we have projects like CPG Club where a lot of their Genius calls and whatnot, the Telegram calls are actually put in there, but they're behind a gate. So you can't, if you go there to a community where you don't have access, you won't see them because they're locked. You can make them invisible or you can make them visible but locked. So there's a bunch of Web3 support like actually built into Zealous already. And we're just sort of exploring to see how much more to add, but that was sort of where we started actually, was like supporting Web3 communities who wanted to put like town halls and DAO meetings and, Twitter spaces all in like kind of one place.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always, when you want to go back and hear what was said, it's always have to have that in one place. And I think NK made a good comment or a good point that led me to this question. Like, what is your target audience? Are you targeting more Web 2 creators, Web 3 creators, Twitter Spaces hosts, YouTube? Like, what would be your ideal audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think when we initially started and where we were focused early on was Web3 and sort of like Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces is kind of like the default marketing tool in a lot of ways for Web3. So I think we just overlapped a lot there. Also, just I do a lot of stuff in Web3. I think though I would probably think about our target audience less so from like the medium they create and more about their current situation, right? So like we look at like I think part-time or like understaffed creators is sort of like the ideal customer because they're the folks who need like the most leverage, right? If you've grown up and you've got like a large team and you have a bunch of people doing all these different pieces, it's not a big problem for you, right? But if you're like me, a founder, and amongst all the things you have to do, like coding, marketing, product stuff, you also need to do like, producing content. Zealous is really meant to give you a lot of scale, right? And we priced it so that it'd be very accessible. Like our plans start at $10 a month, right? Because we want everyone to be able to get this kind of leverage. We don't want it to be like this rarefied air that no one can use. But I would say like where we shine right now is with Twitter Spaces host. The next bucket or audience that we're going for is probably podcasters, just because they have a more established body of work. Right after that, like we're already building the tools for podcasters. The video support is actually, NK is the next thing. Like I come from that world, like YouTube and MCNs and whatnot. And so I think but the problem is that for us, at least for most YouTubers have like a more sophisticated workflow. So I think like as your workflow gets more sophisticated, you tend to be much more, I would say like, not picky, but I think like you're dialed in a bit about how you want all the pieces to work. And we're like a 2-person startup. So it's very hard for us to service sort of all the, finite sort of like little controls that everyone may need. So I think we provide the most leverage to people who are starting out in their journey, maybe in the middle of their journey, but also, like still like overwhelmed, like with all the work that needs to happen. So I think this would include like, domain experts, thought leaders, authors, folks like me, like my last podcast, I did 150 episodes, interviewed everyone, like all tons of people, Randy Zuckerberg and lots of CEOs and whatnot. I literally didn't market any of the episodes because I was just too busy doing the other stuff.
That's exactly what ends up happening. We actually have an AM FM radio show, and it's just nonstop. Like we have people that set it up, but because they don't understand the concepts of Web3, like the marketing team and stuff like that, they don't know the pieces to pick out properly. Hence why I'm looking at this app. But yeah, I think it's I think it's a smart play.
Love it. Brooke, what's going on? Good morning. Happy Friday.
Good morning, friends. I love this. I've known the Zealous team for a long time. How are you?
Hey, Brooke, how are you?
Good. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
But you know me in technology. Like I'm proud of you guys. Like this has come a long way. I love it. And I rarely like host spaces. I'm usually the one like, on the stage, like, pointing things out or coming in with a hot take, but it's always nice when I get an audiogram back from a host saying like, oh, did you hear this thing? Or like what a great tool to use to like get people to come to the spaces, like, hey, come in and speak on stages, because this isn't my job. So it's kind of like nice to come back, or it's not my job to go on other people's spaces, to just like hang out. And so to be able to get this back from somebody and be like, look at what I put together, is a really, really nice tool for hosts to be able to use to kind of add to the to the coolness of coming to their space and talking. So I love this app. I love this product.
I will say, by the way, I forgot to mention this. If you speak in a space and your account is connected, it'll show up in your Zealous also.
So you can basically create content, like your own content, just from speaking in spaces.
Yeah. So normally when you sign up, we actually create two. Remember the site I was mentioning? We make two channels for you. One is called Hosted Spaces, and the other is called Participate Other Spaces. And basically, we have a filter when we import that you can choose, like, hey, anytime like this keyword is mentioned in the title of a space, sort it into. You can make channels basically to organize your spaces. So say you did, like on Wednesdays you did a certain show, you can make a channel and then actually filter just that title or hashtag into that channel, right? So you can automatically organize. Wow, there's a lot of features. We're terrible. Like I said, we're not the best marketers. But when you have all these channels, you can basically sort your content automatically, and every channel has an RSS feed by default. So you basically can turn any show into a podcast like immediately with Zealous. So like, for example, all of your spaces right now, I actually don't listen to most spaces in Twitter anymore. I just listen to them in my podcasting app. Because I can just subscribe to them by way of Zealous. And so I can listen to the spaces directly inside of my podcasting app. It's just a lot more convenient. They download, they're available on my phone. And I get them whenever I'm like at the gym or whatever else instead. Because I usually can't do them in real time. But yes, you can also, because we index all the speakers, if you were speaking in the space, it'll show up in your Zealous account also. But you just need to make sure your account's connected because otherwise we don't know where to put it. So everyone who's connected, basically stuff will show up automatically. We have some hosts that have like 400 or 500 spaces in their accounts, and most of them are actually where they weren't hosting. They were actually just speaking. Like maybe they're very prolific in speaking, and or joining other people or supporting other people. And so a lot of that other content will show up as well. The other thing I will say, and Brooke, I think it's a great point. Like, it's a really great thing to highlight people, but these are really just great growth hacks also, right? So if you are a content creator and you're trying to market, I'll share with you a couple of techniques I use just to like sort of get Zealous on people's radar. Like what Brooke just mentioned. Sometimes, by the way, I mentioned, we were talking about spaces you've done, but you can import any space into Zealous. So you can literally like say you want someone as a host, or to join your show, just go get the URL to their space, drop it into your Zealous account, and you can literally import any space. And so what that becomes is maybe you don't want to host a space this week, but maybe the value you could provide to your community is just providing a recap of another space or aiming people over to that content. That's one way to do it. By mentioning those hosts in your tweets, you can also sort of like get them to be aware that you're there, that you're doing that, you're providing value. And also that that they start to become aware of who you are. And they, oftentimes they may retweet that as well, right? With the wraps, it's even better. So if you like look at our account, you'll probably see, I stopped posting from their account, I posted from my personal account. But a lot of times there's just interesting spaces or like there were popular spaces in the morning. I'll just go in and generate a wrap for that space and drop it, as a comment on the space. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people who couldn't maybe go to the real one can actually just watch the recap video instead. And so that 1 minute recap is a very powerful tool that you can offer or show to, maybe someone who is there. So, like we do that. I've done this a bunch of times for like DGen Network and lots of others. But the toolkit is there to be used not only for your content, I guess, is the main point, but you could also use it for anyone else's content as a great way to sort of start to get in front of others, to grow your network and other things like that.
Great points. Great points. Yeah. I didn't even know that part, that you could import other spaces, or that all the ones that I spoken were tracks. I definitely want to look at that. And like you said, to me, it's just super easy. Like I don't have a team, it's like I create all the content for the Crypto Coffee Pod page. So time is everything. And to sit and go through the space and find those moments. And even if it doesn't highlight it, now I know the trick, but you can search by speakers, it gives you a list of speakers, find the speaker, and the transcription is good. Most of the time, I don't have to make any changes unless I'm having like a really technical conversation that then, of course, half the time I don't even know what the hosts are saying. So I don't expect the AI to. But let's go through some of the hands. Big, Brownie, and then Lexi.
Hey, Zealous. Hey, everybody. This sounds like it's such a great product. I've been trying to find one and then I couldn't find anything. And so I started building my own. But now that I see a product already in the market, I feel like half of my life is sorted, man. So basically, I wanted to ask you, so these would be like transcripts, right? So if I'm speaking, you're speaking, the transcript would add the speakers and then whatever they spoke, and then the second speaker and whatever they spoke, or how exactly does the UX work here?
Great question. So I'll explain how this works just so folks learn how like all these AI pieces are working. But basically, there's a process called diarization, like where the AI tries to discern different voices. So if you were to upload a file to Zealous, what would happen is, the AI really is only really good at like finding about 10 different voices. So spaces can sometimes be problematic. But what'll happen is the system will come back and will label those people like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So when that happens on a normal upload, you can click on just the label and you can assign that person's info. So for example, if you do an upload, you'll see like A, B, C, D. You can click on the A in the transcript, and then we actually allow you to use a Twitter handle to like add their info automatically. So if you know that person on Twitter, you just drop their Twitter handle in. We'll grab their avatar and their name and pre-populate it for you, but you can also just type in a name or edit a name if you want to. Now, on Twitter Spaces, though, and Discord, by the way, we have an extra set of data that we can use. And so we do the speaker labeling automatically for you. And we do this in a number of different ways, like a lot of technical stuff going on behind the scenes, but we basically will, we look at who's talking. We have a stream of that. And then we actually do like audio and volume analysis to figure out if there's a conflict, if there's more than one person talking, to make our best guess to assign that person automatically for you as well. So it's not 100% foolproof. Like there's times like if both our mics are open or someone makes a sound or something like that, where it can sometimes get confused. That's why we do the the volume analysis. But even if it gets confused, you can just click on the avatar for the person. It'll show you a list of all the people who are assigned, and you can reassign that person, the speaker for that thing. To Jess's point, also, the transcript is like an interactive document. So while the Twitter reactions are synchronized, people viewing and reading this transcript after the fact can also react, which continues to provide signal about where the interesting moments are. And it's interactive as well because it's like a Word doc. So the owner of that transcript can actually like break utterances, into smaller chunks, change the spelling of words, correct things in context, etc.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
cool.
Go ahead, Lexi.
It's okay. It's okay. You can speak. I just wanted to like really appreciate the product here, because that sounds really, really crazy good. Like I've tried a lot of transcript products, but like the sound of it, that it's interactive and stuff, and that I can go there. Or is there an option that since it's an interactive product, so can people come up and add their comments as well? So that it becomes a knowledge doc or something?
Great question. We actually have commenting there already. We're working on refactoring the way the transcripts work, but if you're familiar with Medium, the new version of your site will be like Medium. So your transcript will get published like a post. People can come and highlight whatever they want, and then people can comment on those highlighted moments as well. The reason we took it out actually is when we started building, we were in the Web3 space. The problem was that people could comment, but there was no way to reach the person or let the person who was speaking know. And so what ended up happening was it created like a more of a negative cycle for users because they felt like they weren't being heard or responded to. Right. So I think we took commenting out for the short term because like we need to solve for like how do we get in touch with the person who was talking to make sure that, if someone leaves a comment that actually someone hears it. But yes, the goal is that that document, your transcript will literally be exactly like Medium. And so your people will be able to interact around your content, which also I think frees you from a lot of these sort of unnecessary noise, right? Like it's not about other stuff, but it's actually really talking and speaking about what you're about what's going on in the conversation. So much more higher signal.
Awesome. That sounds really great. The AI is really, really solving so much of our life problems there. Thank you so much, Zealous.
Thanks, Lexi,
Thank
for
you.
your questions. Let's get through some of these hands. Big Brownie. Big Brownie. What's up?
Yo, I'm good. Yo, what's up with you, please? Zealous, I really appreciate what you're building. Like for real, this is something big. I think few days back I was communicating with a friend about an AI content creator stuff, and coming up here and saying something like this, I'm really amazed. Like for real, this is a big one. And also, this question is kind of weird, but I just feel I should ask, like, is there like a kind of subtitle stuff in the air platform whereby maybe you join some species. Okay, let's use this Chinese species for example, because sometimes you just feel like you join in, hear what these guys are saying, educate yourself from there, and you being from other regions or other parts of the world, you can be able to hear what they're saying. Is there like a subtitle stuff whereby you can be able to add it to this piece, or I don't know if you get me.
Yeah, I get you. Technically it's possible. But I think it would have to be, just to restate, I guess, if my understanding of the question, sometimes there's spaces in different languages. There is captioning. I think captioning is back in spaces now, but they've taken it away for a while. We can technically do real-time streaming for the captioning. We could technically translate in real time or transcribe in real time even. I think it just becomes a function of like, who's the customer there, whose account is it running through. And so I think it's a bit complicated for us to do, especially like I think at the Twitter scale of content and the fire hose and stuff coming out. So we do have plans like, so today we have rendering and we have transcription as our two services. AI would be our third credit. So like literally like ChatGPT, if you want to just continue chatting with your stuff, that'll be another thing. But we do have translation coming as well. So again, like what if I step back and say like, why are we making Zealous, or sort of like what motivates me and like what are the things I think about the most? There's three pillars to the product. One is I think all this content is amazing, and I think like especially like in Web3 and in communities, it's something that everyone should be able to participate in. And so we look at like how we design Zealous like from the lens of like three important things. The first one is I would say just like availability, right? Which is like, where is this content available? And so how do we make it available on all the platforms that somebody may want to encounter it? Because maybe I don't like being in spaces, like as mentioned earlier, like maybe my podcasting app is a better tool. Maybe YouTube is a better place for me to consume it. The second part is making it accessible. And I think that fits into kind of what you were asking about, which is it. Not only should it be available in audio, but it should be available in text, and it should be available in video, because different people learn in different ways. And as part of that process, it may be that it should be available in Spanish or in French or in German or in Mandarin, because maybe that is just the easiest way for me to consume it. And I think that as communities evolve, this kind of awareness, and attention is really important to sort of making them more successful and more global. And then the third part, I think to even what we were just chatting about is really about making them asynchronous, right? So live content is amazing. We love it. We think it's a critical part of like building relationships in the ecosystem. But time zones shouldn't be a penalty. You shouldn't have to suffer or not be able to participate or not feel heard because you couldn't be there in real time, which is why we actually built the reactions and the commenting in the first place. Because we want to make sure that more people can participate in this conversation, even if they can't be here right now. It's not their fault. Like they may live in a place, they have busy lives, they have schedules, they have families, et cetera. But it doesn't mean that their input is not important. It doesn't mean that they're not welcome. And so as we continue to evolve and think about the features, that's sort of the lens we look at is how do we make you more holistically better without necessarily encumbering you with like tons of work and effort in the process.
I totally feel that. I saw Frank D. Gods had a space last night, like at 5 in the morning. So definitely missed that one. But let's go through the rest of the hands. Andrew, what's going on? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good morning. Good morning. Great space chats once again. I'll say this, open this up like this. Sorry, I'm just chewing my apple here. Just bear with me, please. So obviously in business, speed absolutely kills. There's nothing you can say about it. I think it's just kind of fact at this point. Zealous, really quickly, what is the turnaround time for the products to be released and use as content?
For the transcription?
Correct.
Or that's like minutes. We can basically do an hour and like 30 seconds. So it really just depends on how long it takes us to download it and import all the backend data and synchronize it. But usually it's minutes to get from your finished spaces finished to the transcripts available.
Awesome. I have to ask as well, is there any watermark on the products when they get pushed out, or there's no watermark at all?
There is currently a watermark. We're fixing some parts in the rendering engine to let you control that watermark. So it won't necessarily be ours. You could change it to your own logo. But yeah, there's currently a watermark there's a small Zealous like icon basically in the output. But yeah.
Thanks, Zealous.
Yeah, the audiogram takes less than a minute. I did one really quick before the show. I put a little video on top. That's like in real time how fast it gets created. Let's see. Josh, what's going on? Thanks, Andrew, for the question.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is interesting. I've never seen anything like it. When I was helping on-chain TD, we hosted like 365 spaces every single day. It's hard to go through all that information and data, but, I literally had this around, back then. I was just wondering, is there any way we can go back to old spaces and retrieve that data, or is it just from now on?
So we did index a lot of stuff in the past. I think we have over probably like 120, 130,000 spaces indexed. So if you want to check if we have old stuff, very simple. You can go to zealous.1/@username on Twitter. And if we've seen you in the past, there will be stuff there. So there is a lot of old conversations. Like I said, you didn't have to necessarily sign up in the past because we would find, we were already indexing everyone. Once Twitter changed the API and basically we basically have no access to like the underlying data. We used to be able to like scan your timeline and find all the spaces that you mentioned. So we had a much bigger set than we had users. Now, the best way to do that is make sure you're connected. But if you have the URL to any old spaces, you can also still import them manually as long as Twitter hasn't deleted them.
Now you can go back, Josh, and pull all the receipts.
Let's go.
And to Josh,
Let's go.
to Josh's question too, just really quick. So is there a time limit that you guys have as well? Do you purge those off at a certain point, or do you just keep them in there?
Yeah, great question. We don't delete things unless you tell us to.
Awesome. Yeah, I think somebody had that question in the chat, so I'll make sure to respond to that. What's up, Gigi?
Hey guys, happy Friday. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. No, just wanted to hop in here, just say this all sounds really cool. I guess for some context, I'm currently a master's student interning at a pretty big marketing technology company. So kind of hearing all this is really interesting to me. And personally, I'm working pretty heavily with enterprise architecture. So, I mean, Zealous, I wanted to kind of just pick your brain here. Like how much of your client interactions are kind of based around like integrations, and if that is a big part of it, what are some of those main solutions that content creators are using that are kind of essential to integrate into your product?
That's a good question. Here's what I would say. I think like the way I think about Zealous is almost like we're like a AI no code platform. We cover a ton of different tools or displace a ton of different tools that are all like high friction. So traditionally you could use like an Otter or a Descript or rev.com to like get transcription done. But then what they do, they give you a file. Then you have to take that file and you upload it to another place, right? Well, great. Like then you get, you want to do audiograms. Then you need to use like a headliner or a Descript or something like that. Then you want to do, recap videos. Well, now you need like Premiere or a video editing tool, right? So I think like what we've been doing and where we see an opportunity to continue to grow is to bring more of the AI toolkit into the fold, so that that you as a creator don't waste time with all these these processes. So a lot of what Zealous does behind the scenes is automation, and we'll make that more explicit over time. But for example, like you can say, my Twitter Spaces, when they come in, you can check a box that says automatically transcribe it. And then now you don't have to come in and tell it to transcribe it. But then next to be able to say automatically wrap it, and then we'll generate the recap video for you. And then you can say automatically share it, and then we'll automatically share the recap video for you, right? So the goal is to remove, my philosophy is that friction is failure, right? Because as busy as we are, if I have to go do something, I likely won't do it, right? But at the same time, the counterweight there, I think, is trust, right? Because your account is the thing that you hold sacred. Your audience is the thing that you hold sacred. So I don't expect you to just let us post on your behalf until we build that trust over time, until you feel like we make good recommendations. And part of the process of building trust is, one, giving you the ability to preview and stage all the things you want, but also is this sort of like machine learning model that is like iterating and learning how to better serve who you are over time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Friction is pretty much failure there. And I feel like, at least in my perspective, I've seen a majority of the marketing technologies and solutions, again, catered to marketers, catered to project managers, product marketers. So this niche of content creators, it's really cool. It's nice to see that applied to this kind of audience, code, no code, AI, no code, right? It's very interesting because this is a growing community and a growing role, right? Especially within social media. So really cool stuff. I'm really happy I popped in here, and I'm glad to talk to you. Thanks again.
Absolutely. My old product was a workflow engine for the brand side. Like we had Coke and Nike and Starbucks and all kinds of folks in there, and literally like legal teams reviewing pictures to make sure there weren't like bad things in the background. So I know that side well. We did billions of transactions like on that type of application. And now I just find it way more interesting to help regular people succeed.
Thanks, Gigi, for the question. So mean, what's going on? I hope I said that correctly.
Yes, you did. Yeah, thank you so much. Zealous, good to see you. I have been following your progress for a while, and I've been meaning to reach out to say we should look at doing some integration with Impeak. As a lot of you guys might know about Impeak, we are building a platform where communities can have native webinars in our platform, and then they can turn that content into on-demand sessions. It's all token gated. There is a lot of cross collaboration between communities, so you can token gate for multiple communities. So I was thinking, Zealous, I wanted to ask you, what's your capability for, like, do you have like APIs that we can build into Impeak? We should definitely look at doing some integration together, because we have a similar market, or essentially target market, but we have two different products that are very, very complementary to each other. So I wanted to understand your capabilities from API and interoperability.
Yeah, great question. Good to see you, Somi. Definitely, I think it'd be great to talk and figure out how to do some things together. So everything in Zealous runs in basically, like, just to give folks context, my last company, we ran across, I think, like 150 plus instances. And for Zealous today, we run across like 2 instances. So just technologically speaking, like everything is API driven. It's a number of like Lambda functions and cloud functions basically for running things. So we had to build an API. The only thing we haven't done is exposed it basically as endpoints or for others to interact with it. And part of that is just we've done some stuff, but it's been arm's length. So for example, like the Floor app is able to like leverage Zealous data inside by just using our RSS feeds, because that's like one kind of output, and then they can run their own analysis. But a lot of folks want more of the data we have, right? So like, for example, if we want to expose the reaction data, or if we wanted to expose like the ability to generate, endpoints or media like through the system, these are all things that we definitely could do. So we should chat. Yeah, we haven't really opened up the API endpoints yet because we're really been highly focused on like our customers and like what they're telling us. But I think like you have an opportunity to learn everywhere you can. So yeah, let's chat
Yeah,
and
and
see what you could use.
we just created a Discord jump bot so that communities can put the jump bot into their Discord channel and jump into our platform directly from Discord. So we are building this thing which is complementary to it basically is a much better experience than Discord sessions or Discord events. But on our platform, but people can jump in directly. So I see an opportunity here, maybe for us to for like basically for your technology to be integrated into our platform, so that a similar kind of thing that you're doing for Twitter Spaces can be done for the sessions on our platform, because basically our platform is like a audio visual version of Twitter Spaces. So it's got like a video version of Twitter Spaces essentially, and then it also has beautiful kind of on-demand built into it. So okay, so where's the best way to reach out to you? I know that you're in CPG. Is it Telegram, or where's the best
Yeah,
way to reach
Telegram
out then?
is great. Feel free to hit me up on Telegram, or I'm Gregarious
Perfect.
on Twitter. You can just DM me there or DM the Zealous
Yes.
account. Well, we can find each other, I'm sure.
Perfect. All right. I look forward to it. Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Awesome. Great
Jess,
questions.
I unfortunately do have to go in 8 minutes, but if there are any questions off, absolutely.
Yeah, I was definitely going to start wrapping it up. I guess I'm gonna pitch a request, because the last time I did mention something, you guys changed it. So I'm gonna try it again. I know before I had brought up that when you play the recordings on Zealous, it wouldn't track back to your Twitter stats, and I saw you guys change it, that now it links back to the original Twitter space. So what would be cool, in my opinion, because like what it would be like text to audio, like if you were able to import text and have like AI audio. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there, but that's my pitch for the day.
Absolutely on the radar. This will blow your mind. We can actually do text to speech, but we can also. I've already done experiments with this, like where I actually was able to use voice clips that I have from you speaking in spaces to then read your tweets into audiograms, basically. So you could basically turn all of your tweets into TikToks or shorts or reels. So that would be that. It's definitely doable. We just haven't gotten there yet, but it is on the horizon. The other thing that I think is interesting is once we start the translation side, we can actually do that in foreign languages. So we can actually translate and then speak in a foreign language as well. So a lot of interesting opportunities. Like I said, remember, just there's so much interesting AI out there that there's really not a point in us trying to build best of breed, especially as a 2-person team. But what we can do is find the best solutions, bring them into here, and then take away all the stress and friction of you having to go figure out how to use all these different pieces, right? The feature that's coming out, actually, we may have it out today, and I think you're going to like this, Jess. Previously, when you did audiograms, you clip the audio, right? The version that we'll release today now lets you use the transcript. So you actually just highlight the words in the transcript, and then when you highlight them, it'll give you the option to turn that into an audiogram. So no more tinkering around with sound waves and visualizations. You can actually just highlight the words you want and then say clip that. The other part of that feature, which will probably be out next week, is our new AI highlights. So we're actually automatically, when you transcribe, running ChatGPT and a bunch of prompts on it to find all the best quotes for you automatically. And so those new quotes will automatically be surfaced for you. So you get a higher density, higher quality sort of quotes. But what's cool is we're going to next is when we pull those quotes, we actually have the AI write the tweet to go with it. So we can now take the quote. The goal is to take the quote, turn it into an audiogram, use the AI generated text as the tweet, and then basically we have posting built into Zealous natively. It's already there. We just haven't turned it on yet. But basically we will be able to do the posting straight from Zealous, which will handle the uploads of the media and everything for you. As you probably know, the best way to share, for example, a piece of media in Twitter is to actually upload it directly in the post, but that means you have to download it from Zealous, then go over, then write your tweet or whatever it's going to be, and then upload that media. We're going to get rid of all of that. And the goal is to get you to like be able to write threads or single posts just by highlighting, checking off the quotes that you want to use. And we'll do all the audiogram generation with the recaps and everything else for you. So you can see it's like, that's again the goal. It's like, don't trust us, but come in, see the things you like, pick, right? And then just hit one button and automatically be able to post it or schedule it for later.
That is so cool. I think my tweets are too sarcastic, maybe. So we'll need like a sarcastic tone. But
So there's settings for the AI where you can tell it like who your target audience is, your tone of voice that you like to use. And also you'll be able to eventually give it like writing, like we already have your writing samples, like we know what you said. So we can also take that and train it to be like, this is how this person prefers to write. So this will continue to evolve and develop a profile for you that will then get, like I said about trust, over time, it will become much better at being like you. But up front, you probably just have to help it along.
Is that like scary to anybody else?
Super.
Seriously, Gregarious, when are you going to be able to take all of my video content and clip it together and give me like beautiful montages? We
can do that
right?
now, actually. Okay. I'm not sure if you saw, we did release video. It's very early, but we already work with video content. But up until like last week, we didn't have a way to render the video content. And so we added
it's quite the engine, right? Like it takes quite a bit to do that. That would save a lot of us so much time, though.
Yeah, so you can literally upload a video to Zealous now, and then you can clip it just by kind of like the script, but like you can use it. Right now, we don't have a video part to visualize the video part, but literally when we give you highlights from a video, it actually knows where the video is. And so if you use a video template for your audiogram, it'll actually just add captions over the video. So it's our first few templates. I see Tess down there, her crypto, she's been doing them every day, but you can literally, but I forgot to mention this also, like I said, there's so much stuff in there that you can also record natively in Zealous. You don't actually need to use any other tools. So you can just record audio, video straight in Zealous. And then we will do the captioning or subtitling for you basically automatically. If you upload video from like, a Zoom call or something like that, you can go pick your quotes that you like, and then it'll actually generate those as single videos. And before we launch on Product Hunt, which will be sometime right next month, we should have our new studio tool in, which is like a storyboard builder. So you actually can choose the scenes. So you can make 10 audiograms and then pick them or arrange them in the order that you want, add in titles and stuff like that, and then basically generate a final video that composes all those pieces together. That's how the wraps work today, actually. Wraps actually are multi-scene audiograms. We just haven't exposed the UI yet for you to actually assemble the scenes, but like wraps, we do them automatically for you.
Awesome. And Greg, sorry, MK and Rose, but it looks like we're at time for Greg.
I can do one more. I can talk to Rose. I know Rose well. And
Rose, welcome.
Thank you. I just want to give a shout out again to Gregarious because he supported, I did a Women to Follow Summit. I'm the founder of Women to Follow, which aims to amplify women's voices. And Gregarious supported the summit and continuing to benefit from Zealous. And I'm really excited to hear about the video, using the video, because I haven't tried it. I do have Descript, and I generally use that when I do a live stream show. And I have a question. I know you were talking about a wrap for a space, Gregarious, but is there a way to use AI to like get the 3 main points or put in 3 main names from a space and get what they say summarized that I could then use in a tweet?
So you can definitely ask the AI assistant to give you the takeaways. And the new AI highlights are time aware. So they basically like automatically let you clip the audio. You can turn it into an audiogram, whatever you need. We need to add some filtering to them, and that's actually come up in a couple other places. But yeah, I think we could filter the highlights down to like just a certain person because we already know who's speaking. And then again, like it's going to be like a shopping cart. So you will literally just check off the ones that you want to use. A little toolbar shows up at the bottom, and basically you arrange them, and then you just hit go, and then basically that would go into the wrap. in that order.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that come out, and it's a great tool.
There's only two of us. So we sometimes, we're always listening. So we go as fast as we can. But I don't write that much code anymore. My co-founder writes most of it. I was an engineer for 25 years, but I'm mostly on the product side now. But yeah, we will get there at some point, I promise. And all these features are there. By the way, last little thing, if you have feature requests, roadmap.zealous.app is where our public roadmap is. You can go add your ideas. You can vote up anything that you would like to see done. And we consult that often for features that we're going to make. And then there's also, obviously we're working on things that we think are important for the business. But there's usually a blend of feedback and ideas from you, as well as some of the things that we need to do to get those things to work.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg, so much for coming by. Everybody make sure to follow the Zealous page and give it a try for free. And thanks so much for coming by. And we're looking forward to seeing what features you guys bring.
Thank you so much. And if you use Jess's link, I know you get, I think it's 10% off for 6 months. So feel free to give it a try. And if you have feedback, feel free to DM us. We're very available. And so we're happy to chat with you whenever you need. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Greg.
Have a great weekend.
You too.